Okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Catherine.
Hello, Panayiota.
I have the pleasure to introduce Catherine Dompas from south of France to my new project, Sei-ki Mosaic, Polyphony in Sei-ki. Catherine is a Sei-ki and Shiatsu practitioner, and she has been a student of Akinobu Kishi, the originator of Sei-ki. And Catherine is coming to Athens. Let me share my screen now. Okay, this happens. I will share my screen in a moment because Catherine is coming to Athens for a Sei-ki workshop, and actually she's coming for the first time in Athens for Sei-ki.
Very happy to come to Athens.
We are very happy too. Now, let me see if the share screen. Okay, here we have a nice poster. Yeah. So, yes, the topic of the workshop is breathing hands, and Catherine will be with us in Athens from 4 to 6 April for a 3-day Sei-ki workshop.
Yes.
So, Catherine,
yes.
We will surprise everyone because we have not announced that we are going to have this interview today, but it is spontaneous. It was spontaneous.
Just Sei-ki way.
The Sei-ki way, exactly. So, Catherine, would you like to tell us what Sei-ki is for you?
Wow, that's already a big question.
Yes, indeed.
It's a big question. How would I say this? For me, Sei-ki is in fact life itself. It's the breathing life, breath, that brings us in us daily life. For me, it's something very alive. And yeah, what is Sei-ki? Come to Athens, huh? But I mean, for me, it's really connecting with our deepest nature, which is complete aliveness, feeling our body. It's a big embodiment practice. And yeah, I think the feeling, the aliveness is very important. It's just life. In fact, we are not doing something else. So therefore, it's very difficult to explain what Sei-ki is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
yes, sorry.
Of course, we practice. We do some practice, but it's no practice. It's it is to reconnect with who we really are.
Mm-hmm. And when did you come across Sei-ki?
Well, that's a funny story. The first Sei-ki workshop I attended to was pretty, I would say, already pretty far away in Kishi's life. So it was in 2009. It was at Franz Koper's place in Ghent, because at that moment I still lived in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
And but I heard from Kishi already a long time before. A good friend of mine, she went to all his workshops in Belgium, and she was talking about Sei-ki, and I could not understand what it was. I was very attracted, and at the same time, I was very scared about it. So then it took me 4 years to really enroll to a workshop.
But and you already were you were involved already in Shiatsu.
Yes, yes, yes. I was doing Shiatsu since 2003. But I did two schools, in fact. I went to a Belgian school, Oost-West, which is in the Dutch part, in Antwerp. I did 2 years, but I looked for something more. I was not completely satisfied, not about the school, it was very good, but about what I was looking for in Shiatsu.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my first encounter with Japan and Japanese practice of Shiatsu was Kawada Sensei, which is, he's a Japanese master of Shiatsu who lives and works in Belgium. He has a school, Yoseido Shiatsu school, and he is quite specialized, I would say, in the curious meridians, the 8 curious meridians, which is in another system on top of the Shiatsu 12 meridians, and it attracted me directly. So that was my starting point of Shiatsu. I had to start back again, but that was no problem because it was there also already an important school of touch.
I see.
Yes, even if there was no Sei-ki, but some people who do Sei-ki also come from Kawada Sensei, from Shiatsu school.
And Kawada Sensei is in Brussels.
Yes, he's in Brussels. Yes,
okay.
He's still teaching. So there are people in the Sei-ki, so it's very interesting. People who were also very in the beginning of Shiatsu, of Kawada Sensei teaching, as more at the end. At the end, I was also, he's still teaching, but I later on in his teaching program. And we meet each other back also through Sei-ki, which is very interesting.
Oh, I see.
Now also Kawada Sensei knew Kishi Sensei, they knew each other. So they knew each other from Japan, also from Masunaga, and also in Paris, because they both were in Paris at a certain moment in the 70s, early 70s. And then everybody went his way.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. And so, do you remember your feeling when you were in the first Sei-ki workshop?
Oh yes, I remember very well. I was scared. Because people were invited to come to the futon in the middle, because in a workshop, a Sei-ki workshop, you can come in the middle so that Kishi at that moment, Kishi Sensei, could show what a certain treatment when somebody came. And I saw that people were just like jumping on that mat in the middle. I was like totally tetanized. Tétanisé is in French, I don't know, totally frozen. I said, oh my God, I'm not going in the middle there with everybody looking at me. So this took me, I think, 2 workshops before jumping. No, it was not jumping. It was at the end of a second workshop where I thought, okay, I need to go now.
So in your second Sei-ki workshop, Kishi touched you.
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
do you remember the feeling?
Oh, yes. I remember very well because I was quite tensed at that moment. And in fact, again, I felt that it touched so deep. me. I was very scared at that moment. I was still, searching for myself somewhere. And he went right to a spot that still now is quite sensitive, although it has been worked on it for a long time, but I feel that he was on the right spot. And I remember very well what he said at that moment. He looked at everybody and he said, stones, stones. It's very hard. It's a rock here. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? So yeah, it was, I was a bit surprised.
Yes.
But it was direct at the right spot. And very nice touch. But as I said, I was so, I was not relaxed. Even on the futon, I was not relaxed. It was only after
the treatment,
the treatment that everything started to melt. This rock started to move. And I started to come more in my body. And feel also, feeling more alive and less in my head, because I was very in my head.
I see.
Now, for doing the treatments,
yes,
during the first workshop, because I've never done it, I just followed. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was like very natural. It's in fact there I was not at all in my head, and my hands were just doing what we were all doing. And I felt quite confident. Even if I didn't know what I was doing, I felt that it was something natural. Yeah.
And it was from the first Sei-ki workshop that you felt and decided that I'll go this way.
Yes, I felt, yes, this is what I want to do. I felt very joyous about the feeling of this. It was like something was recognized.
Okay. It was something recognized.
Yes, my body recognized something.
Your body recognized something.
Yes.
Yes.
Without knowing.
Without knowing. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yes. This is very common in Sei-ki, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. I hear it also from people who contact me, for example, if they want to attend a workshop that I organize. Sometimes they hear it from the first time, or they have the book. They read the book of Kishi, written by Alice Wilder.
Yes.
They recognize things and they want to do it.
They want to do it.
They feel resonance with what Kishi is telling in that book and in the interviews, and some concepts, if I can tell it like this, pillars of Sei-ki. They immediately feel resonance. So it's for me natural, because it's our natural way also. Sei-ki is aliveness. It's life. Again, connecting with our deep nature.
Yes. And okay, so you met Kishi in 2009, and then in 2012, Kishi passed away.
Yes.
What was the impact of his death to you? And I mean, to you and your Sei-ki training.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I would say even shocked, and very sad, even if if I only have met him 2-3 years, almost 3 years. But in the meantime, we had been to Japan, to a Japan trip with Kishi and Kyoko, and with a group, 30 people, something, European group. This is what Kishi and Kyoko did many times, to bring us to different places, important places for Sei-ki practice, and the roots of Sei-ki and Ki culture. And so this was in 2011. It was also after the tsunami. It was a very, very special year. So this trip went on despite what happened. And I was very glad that it went on. And so it's in fact nearly 1 year later that Kishi died after that trip. And so this was even more deep, because during such a trip, you're day in, day out, very close together, during a kind of a very deep trip of like an initiation. Also a connection with also Kishi's initiation, what he experienced, and he wanted to bring us in these areas that were very sacred and important in his evolution. So this goes very deep. And so then I remember I went after the workshop, the Japan trip. I went to a workshop in Ghent at Fran's place and Fran's Kopers, and this was short after. So it was just moving on. And then normally I would meet him on another workshop that would have been in June 2012 in Slovenia at Igor Kuric. This was also is also a Sei-ki practitioner of Slovenia. And he and Kishi would come to him. But there, in fact, he had to stop his earlier workshop in Munich. I think it was Munich, or in Germany anyway. And go back to Japan because he was very ill. And then I said, oh, wow, what is going on? And of course, I received information also later on, and I knew that, that he was was working on his illness. But what I found really great, if I can say it like this, he went completely through. He was Sei-ki. He went with his illness. He went through Sei-ki completely. So he didn't go for, treatments or whatever. No, he completely went through his practice. And the day he died, I was very connected with Kyoko. In fact, I'm always very connected with Kyoko, the wife of Kishi. Also, during the first workshop, I had a complete direct connection with her. And I felt a lot, and I received also information during, the progress of his process. And so somewhere I knew the day that I heard that he died, I was very sad. And at the same moment, I felt that something was also opening more even with Sei-ki. And somewhere he had said to Kyoko that when he will not be there anymore, he will be there anyway, even more there. So, and I felt at that moment that Sei-ki was grounded. I cannot explain it. It was there, and it had been materialized, even if Kishi is not there anymore. It would go its own way. And I think if I look at it now, it's like growing. It's like growing, even if Kishi is not there anymore.
Okay. Yes.
At least in France, it is growing, but I think everywhere people are
Yes.
like attracted to it.
Yes. Yes. And after Kishi died, you continue your apprenticeship with Kyoko.
Yes.
You've
Indeed.
got Kyoko Kishi. How is it for you? You said that you were connected, you had a connection with Kyoko from the first time you met her.
Yes. Yes.
How is it for you now, 12 years after?
Oh, well, it's a beautiful adventure. It's really, in the beginning, I was very shy when I met her, and also with Kishi, I didn't know very well. They were the masters, the sensei, and it started to become more at ease, I would say, when Kyoko came for the first time to Paris for a workshop that I organized in Paris for opening Sei-ki in France, because Sei-ki, before there were some people who, Kishi, of course, went a long time in Paris, but then afterwards he went to Japan back, and then coming back to Paris for opening also Sei-ki in Europe. And then he started traveling, but he didn't stay in Paris. And then people had heard about it, but forget it. And nothing happened anymore, really. So I was very glad she could open it again. It was also very symbolic, because we could do it in the Iokai school of Paris, of Shiatsu school in Paris, where the co-owner, Christine Breton, knew Kishi. She went to his school. Yeah, so it was very beautiful. And so Kyoko, we could Kyoko came to us at our place, and we could really exchange in a different way about our lives. And it was also very close after the death of Kishi. It was, sorry, I think it was 2014 or 2015. Sorry, I don't remember. I think 2015 more, that she came to Paris. And she shared with us a lot about her life with Kishi and photographs. And so I know also that in that way that Kawada sensei and Kishi sensei knew each other. They also worked together at a certain moment in Paris. Yeah, so that was a very close relationship that we built. And so every year she came to France until, just about COVID. That changed a bit things. But she still did a workshop in Zoom while we were in a group in a dojo that was also just between two COVID sessions.
I see.
But afterwards, well, she decided to come to one place now in Europe. So, but we keep contact, and also she came last year to France for the annual gathering that we organized with different people, with Gwen and Paul-Marie and Lena Rodriguez. We organized a gathering of all Sei-ki people, because every year we come together in one place somewhere, in Europe, where we just exchange, meet, you know, come closer to each other, find each other. It's like one big family coming together in one moment, one weekend, and then we off go again. And Kyoko always come to this kind of gatherings, where she also presents, and other people can show their way of Sei-ki, because we didn't talk about more in depth about Sei-ki, but there is one basis of Sei-ki, and of course, because we are all unique, we have our own way of Sei-ki.
Exactly. Yes. This is now what I would ask you. I mean, I came across Akinobu, Kishi, and Kyoko in 2011. They had come in Greece for one and only 4-day workshop.
Yes.
And then I was involved in Sei-ki from 2016.
Okay.
And I have realized that there is a common thread in Sei-ki.
Yes.
And at the same time, there is also the personal style, the personal way in Sei-ki. So, and the question is, what do you think that is the common thread in Sei-ki? And what's your personal way, your personal expression in Sei-ki?
Well, the common thread for me is the breath. Yes, is a breathing. It's the Sei-ki breathing. It's a Gyoki breathing, breathing by hands, hands to hands, hands between hands. But there are more common threads. But for me, this is the most important one. It's communication. The breath is communication. It's an exchange already without words, by breathing, and by breathing also expiring with the mouth, which is a more Shinto kind of breathing, which is going back to the roots again in Japan. And this breathing is very important, yes. And of course there are some specific points or pointers who are important, which always come back, even if you have your own style of, you know, putting more focus on one thing or another. But it's the Katsugen Undo, it's the spontaneous movement, which is part of Sei-ki, and which can be activated by the breath. Of course, you can do exercises for it, but still, when you start doing Gyoki for a while, these breathing hands, you can also activate your spontaneous movement, inner movement. So this is a Katsugen Undo, and then also resonance coming. This is this communication without communication. And this is for me the three most important points or threads. And of course the breathing is one thread through everything. Because in Katsugen Undo, also the breath changes, then spontaneous movement coming. So it's all a matter of breathing. And the breath is life. It's just aliveness. Without breath, we don't breathe, we don't live. It's very simple.
It's so simple.
Although we can talk about that also, but that's another topic.
And what's your personal expression? Your personal way?
Yes. In fact, it is always evolving. The more deeper you go into your practice, in my practice, I see that I'm very into the Gyoki. Kyoko also does it a lot, and I understand very well now, starting to understand what it really does on the body, and not only on your body, but also around and in connection, in communication, and it can go very deep. So for me, this breath is very important, but also what I feel that the breath is it helps the breath is doing some preparation also upfront before breathing. It's already with some training, some ki training. In fact, it's a ki culture. Sei-ki comes from ki culture, and like Shiatsu. But the aligning your body, being prepared for doing gyoki, although gyoki brings you very quickly into alignment too, I like to work on the hara first, to do some training on, again, activating the hara zone. It's a sensation. It's not only the belly. You have to feel it, because this is important during treatment. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it's the same for Shiatsu or Sei-ki. But Sei-ki is something more laser precise, I would say, because we don't use tsubos, we don't use the points or the meridians. There is no map anymore. So, but sometimes when the hara is well activated, you will be on the right spot. This is what Kishi did. That's what I experienced when he was on that place that was very uncomfortable for me. Direct, he was bam. And this is because your hara is strong, and it's for daily life, it's important anyway. So this is my way. I like to work with exercises first, and then moving into gyoki. And also, it's difficult to say what is my style. I want to keep it very free. I like the way also Kyoko works, and how I met Kishi, because Kishi had also evolutions in his style. What I heard from friends, or students, or friends, or Peter Burnett, or many people, Keith, I can sense what he was doing at that time. Also, it was Sei-ki always, but sometimes he showed more certain points, or people were a bit confused, but it is like Shiatsu, I don't understand what is the difference. But when I met him, it was, I would say, freestyle. There were no specific points. And of course, there are certain places that are important, but finally you can find them too, if you're really connected. So, and that I like, because it's always a new adventure when you're working with someone, even someone it's always a new adventure. Well, it's the same with Shiatsu, but here you are out of your mind. You are going to make an analysis, or you're making setsushin, so your analysis of the belly, gives you information.
We don't do diagnosis. You mean hara diagnosis? Yes.
Yeah, hara diagnosis. Already the brain starts to think where to go. Yes, it's Kyo, it's Jitsu. I start here and there. So somewhere the mind is always working also, which is okay. But something completely different. With Sei-ki, you don't use any mind anymore. It's just ki, following ki.
Following ki. So I take now the opportunity to ask you, since you mentioned Shiatsu, in your opinion, in your practice, how Sei-ki and Shiatsu are combined? Or does the one affect the other? And if yes, how? Is there a difference? And if yes, what's the difference? I mean, you already have said some things.
Yeah. Well, I can only speak from my point of view.
Yes,
and
exactly.
my own experience, because
Yes,
if you
yes.
go with the microphone to everybody in a Sei-ki practitioner, maybe they will tell other things. If you ask Kyoko, she never did shiatsu, she would say, I don't know shiatsu.
Yes.
So, but well, I would say that yes, of course, you can mix both. And you, well, it will always give something nice, because in fact it's about the touch. Oh yes, I didn't really talk about the touch, the thread. When I come back to one of your questions, what is the thread? For me, it's the breath and the touch. This is the same, should be the same somewhere, whatever style you have. It's the Sei-ki touch. And here the touch in Shiatsu or Sei-ki can really bring something, a big benefit in your touch of Shiatsu. Touching the person, also touching the points, or just being with the person, or taking where you are, the skull, or wherever. It's the touch, the person will feel it immediately and will be in confidence. It's about trust. When trust is there, is it Shiatsu, Sei-ki, or whatever other manual treatment, if there is, or no manual treatment, if there is trust, then the body will open and connect. And so, yes, in my practice, in the beginning, I was not so sure. When I came back from a workshop, I wanted to do Sei-ki, and I asked people if, well, it was first on people I knew, if I could do Sei-ki treatments, and they're okay. And then more and more people, when they were coming, and more space were after workshop and practice, I started mingling with Sei-ki, and it became a bit of a mishmash of Sei-ki and Shiatsu, and then finally it became Shiatsu. And with a little, but I forgot. But now for me, the Sei-ki is completely integrated, or is still, it's always moving. I cannot say it is integrated. That would be very impolite to say, maybe, but I can sense it very deeply in my whole body and all my fibers. So I can feel now what is, when I do Shiatsu treatment or Sei-ki treatment, it's different. And I did some experience with clients that I know for a long time, that I said, now they always came for Shiatsu. I said, can I do a Sei-ki? Are you open for it? And I didn't know about it.
You asked the client.
I asked them, yes.
Yes.
And yes, of course. And so they knew what my treatments in Shiatsu did to them. So they were open and completely, they didn't know what to expect. So I did Sei-ki, and they were surprised, because they said it's something different. What they experienced themselves also after treatment, and the whole process of Sei-ki treatment, they found it different. And one lady said to me, it goes deeper than Shiatsu. So I don't know. I cannot say this. It is just people who tell me this. But now, when I receive a client that I don't know, because it's always getting acquainted a bit. People can talk a lot, blah, 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 but the body tells other things. So anyway, you have to touch the person to feel what the body really needs. And
Yes,
there,
yes.
maybe there I say to them, they don't never ask, I want a shiatsu or a Sei-ki, they come for treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, I can choose, or it's their body that tells me what I need to do.
Exactly, yes.
So,
yes.
so I never know what I'm starting with.
Yes, yes.
But there are people who is very clear, only Sei-ki, goes direct to Sei-ki. And yeah, and some people, even if they had Sei-ki before, they come back, that I feel now it's shiatsu, only shiatsu. A good shiatsu, specific shiatsu treatment, I feel. So difficult to tell. I think both are interesting.
Yeah. Has it happened to you that the client asks for a shiatsu treatment, but when you touch him or her, you feel, I mean, what is coming out from you is Sei-ki touch?
Yeah, it's always, in fact, I think even in shiatsu, people are telling me that have done shiatsu with other practitioners, they said that my touch is different for shiatsu. So therefore, I think my touch is now, has changed. And therefore, this is important. I see things happening in other schools where there is more focus on touch now. I was very lucky to be at Kawada's school, Kawada Sensei, because he put a lot of effort and stress on focus on touch, the right touch. He
The
understood
right touch, yes.
very good what was the right touch. And yes, the touch and the breath and the hara connection, I think these are common denominators for shiatsu Sei-ki. The rest is different because there is also this yoki breath somewhere spontaneously opens the spontaneous movement also of the client. I cannot explain. There is very difficult to explain. It's an experience.
Yes.
But with shiatsu, people can also have movements, spontaneous movements. And it's good to know that it exists, because many practitioners don't know that it exists and are a bit afraid, could be afraid, and the client too. Once I had a client who came to me who had lots of katsugen, but was scared of having Parkinson disease or Starch or epileptic disease. But this was just katsugen. And nobody knows what is katsugen. So I think it's a good add-on for shiatsu practitioners to experience what is katsugen, and also to know that what it is inside. First, you have to feel it, what it is inside, so you can recognize it with your client, and you can ease your client when there is a panic or don't know what happens, because katsugen can be very small, like the little fingers moving or yawning, but it can be a very big emotional liberation.
Yes, yes. And that's why I feel that Sei-ki is the precursor of shiatsu, because Sei-ki is feeling. With Sei-ki, we go back to feeling. We connect with what we feel. And first is the feeling and the touch, how we cultivate the touch with Gasho Gyoki. And afterwards comes shiatsu and pressing points and chubos, etc.
I agree. Although, again, I have to refer to Kawada Sensei. who the first year is just touch.
Yes, exactly. Yes, touch.
We don't learn any meridian or whatever.
Exactly. Yes, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Touch and feeling. This is the first thing. When somebody goes for Shiatsu, touch and feeling.
Yes. Yes.
But this comes from, I mean, for us, from Sei-ki.
Yes, true. Yeah, I understand. Yes, for me also, Sei-ki is in fact underneath. It's like an original, the original movement.
Yes,
where
the basis.
Different treatments have been coming out of it, and not only shiatsu, but also like osteopathy, like fascia therapy. Because people say, "Oh, it's yeah, I know this. It's fascia therapy." I say, "Sorry, no, it's not fascia therapy." Other people say, "Oh, but it's like Reiki." I say, "Yeah,
yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry, no, it's
I
not
hear that
like
a lot."
Reiki." Sometimes it's like, "Oh, it's craniosacrum, the craniosacral." I say, "Sorry, no, it's not craniosacral, but it has all these parts in it."
Yes,
it's really on like the basis where other stuff came out of it. Seitai also. Seitai. Although Kishi went to Noguchi also for some some training, but he said very quickly, but much too complex. But the first layer of Seitai is very similar to Sei-ki. When I say first layer, it's about also breathing hands, also Katsugen Undo, touching, but there are differences. Sei-ki is very clear. There is clarity at a certain moment, and you stop at a certain moment. And when at least what I learned from some workshop I did with Seitai in Barcelona at Mimo Katsumi, who doesn't live anymore, but was a very interesting place also for Seitai. There was no clear finish.
With Seitai, you mean?
Yes. So it's interesting how, all these different practices somewhere have like a basis where Sei-ki keeps everything in it, has everything inside it.
Yes. And Gaso-gyoki is from Seitai?
Yeah, they call it Yuki. Yuki. I'm sorry, I don't know the difference in translation, what it is.
Okay, no
but
problem.
It's at least it's the same. It's gyoki. It's like gyoki, gasho-gyoki.
And do you know how Kishi, I mean, the roots of this practice of the breathing hands?
The root of the breathing hands. Well,
because this is the best practice for Shiatsu practitioners and for all body workers who touch people.
The roots I cannot really confirm. But I guess that we have to look at Seitai.
Okay.
And also, there is a Shinto breathing in it, which is inspiring by the nose and expiring by the mouth. Also, the inspiring will, in fact, come through the central channel, and so the hands and the arms goes to the central channel, and it makes like, it activates a certain spiral. So I call Shinto breathing, well, they call it Shinto breathing, is also doing like a movement with breathing. There is a movement, energetic movement, that in fact opens all the body and activates the hands and all the body, because at a certain moment you cannot sense the hands, and it is possible that you cannot feel your hands anymore, that you are just a breath. And yeah, so this opens the whole space of energy of your body, inside, outside, outside, inside. So it's an old knowledge that the Japanese still preserved.
So this is
yeah.
your focus, our focus on the workshop in April.
Yes.
On
yes.
this
yes.
old Japanese practice.
Yes, and but I would say we're in this workshop. I would like to really go very deep in it.
Yes.
Because it is a very layered practice, which the deeper you can go with this gyoki, the more efficient your treatment will be.
Okay. And okay, and you mean treatment either it is Sei-ki, Shiatsu, or other body work?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And Catherine, would you like to share with us a memorable story with Kishi? If you have a story to share.
A story? I have to think. Yes, there are two things that pop up. One is one that makes me always smile when I think about it. That is when in the workshops, when we're doing gyoki, because gyoki, a certain moment, the whole body starts moving, your inner movement starts to move. But Kishi, he liked to make sounds also during gyoki, and movements. And in fact, Kishi, it's also thanks to Kishi that many students could connect with the Budo Waraku, which is a martial art, a Budo more of Waraku, which is using sound and spirals. It's in fact the continuation of Aikido, if I can say. And Kishi, when we went to Japan, he always brought us to Maeda Sensei, who is the sensei of Waraku. And so we did these movements of sound and spirals, which is very codified, very specific. But when we were in Sei-ki, Kishi said, now Kishi style. And it was, his way of doing the spirals and the sounds. And it was very joyful. It was very joyful. And he said, this is Waraku Kishi style. And and as I liked Waraku, because it's thanks to him that I went to practice Waraku, and still doing. This is what you see there is the sign of Waraku behind me. The flame in the water, the fire in the water. So this was something that reminds me all the time, and it gives me a lot of joy when I think about it, because he couldn't care how it was. He's just doing, And another one, they are small things, because I said only 3 years we were together, or I could meet him. In every workshop, he said it always come back in every workshop, and I think before too. When he was doing a presentation or doing a treatment on somebody, showing during a workshop, he said, yeah, with Sei-ki, you don't know who is treating who anymore. And he said, but I know I am paid at the end.
Yes.
I know that I'm paid at the end. So this was the joke that always came out. But yeah, I remember more about the Japan trip, which I really enjoyed. And for me, Kishi was someone very true, a very authentic person, very clear, joyous, just said what needs to be said. And he opened the doors so widely for us. He put the grains that still germ very deep now, still deep.
Yes.
So I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you, Catherine, for sharing all this with us.
Thank you.
And before closing, I would like to say that on November 25,
Yes.
Monday, we will meet on Zoom at 6 p.m. Central European Time, 7 p.m. Greek time, because Catherine will guide us to an inner journey of cultivating our touch through Kaso-yogi. So we'll have a taste of the breathing hands.
Yes.
I will send out the link, and I'll put it also on Facebook. It will not be live on Facebook, it will be on Zoom.
Okay.
And yes, I would like, okay, now I would like to thank you, Catherine, for this interview, for being so kind to share with us your personal experience and to express yourself so truly and originally. And we will see you in person in April in Athens.
Yes. I would really thank you, Panayiota, for this interview and also for this great initiative you take to put Sei-ki and the different Sei-ki practices more in the spotlight. I think it's important because Sei-ki, as you say, everybody has a unique way, and it's important that everybody can try it and taste it, and that you make it in the world. You put it in the world. It's really great, and I'm honored and very happy to be there in Athens in April. It is a big joy, and I think it will be a very nice workshop where we will do a lot of interesting work together.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone, and see you later in Athens. Bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye.